The waves rocked the research ship gently as Captain Han stood on the bridge. She looked at the screen showing the deep water below them. The Haeyang was the best ocean research ship Korea had. Today, they were in the East Sea, looking for unusual heat spots on the ocean floor. "Captain, we found something strange," said Lee, the sonar operator. His eyes were wide as he pointed at his screen. 2 kilometers down, it's not on any maps." Captain Han walked over. The screen showed a bright spot where nothing should be. It wasn't a rock or an underwater volcano. The shape was too perfect, too smooth. "Could it be a sunken ship?" she asked. "No, Captain, it's giving off energy, like it has power." Officer Kim stepped forward. He wore a Navy uniform, not like the other scientists on the ship. The government had sent him to watch their mission. "We need to check it right away," Officer Kim said. His voice was firm. "It could be a foreign submarine." Dr. June shook his head. He was the top ocean scientist on the ship. "We should be careful. There are delicate life forms down there. We can't just rush in." Captain Han looked at both men. "We will go down to look," she decided, "but we will be careful. Get the deep-sea pod ready." 3 hours later, Captain Han, Officer Kim, and Dr. June sat inside the small pod as it sank into the dark water. The pod's lights cut through the blackness. Fish and strange deep-sea creatures swam past them. 200 meters, said Captain Han, watching the depth meter. 1,000 meters. 1,500. "The water pressure is very high here," Dr. June said. "Few people have been this deep in this part of the sea." Officer Kim sat stiffly, watching the front window. "How much longer?" "Almost there," Captain Han answered. "Look, we can see the ocean floor now." The pod's lights showed rocks and sand. Small white crabs walked slowly across the bottom. And then they saw it. It was not a ship like any they had seen before. It was round and smooth, with no sharp edges. It shone with a dull blue light, even though it was half buried in the sand. It was about the size of 3 buses put together. "That's not human," Dr. June whispered. "That's not from Earth." Officer Kim grabbed the radio. "Surface, this is Kim. We found." A pulse of blue light shot out from the strange ship. The pod's lights flickered, and the radio went dead. "We lost power." Captain Han tried the controls. "No, wait. Some systems are still working, but we can't talk to the ship above." "We should leave," Officer Kim said. "Now, before whatever's in there wakes up more." Dr. June pressed his face to the window. "It's changing shape." The strange ship's side was moving. The smooth metal flowed like water opening a round hole. "It's a door," Captain Han said. "It's inviting us in." "Or it's a trap," Officer Kim argued. "We need to go back and tell the military." Dr. June's eyes were bright with excitement. "This could be the biggest discovery in human history. We can't leave now." Captain Han thought for a moment. "We'll go closer. If it seems dangerous, we'll leave right away." Officer Kim didn't look happy, but he nodded. Captain Han moved the pod toward the open door. As they got closer, they could see inside. There were no sharp metal parts like in human ships. Everything was smooth and rounded with the same blue glow. "I'm going to dock with it," she said. The pod moved into the opening. With a soft bump, they connected to the alien ship. "The air tests say it's safe to breathe in there," Dr. June said, looking at a screen. "That's impossible," Officer Kim said. "We're under crushing water pressure." "Not air," Dr. June corrected himself, looking closer at the readings. "It's some kind of breathable liquid. The whole ship is filled with it." Captain Han reached for the pod's door. "We're going in." "This is against all safety rules," Officer Kim warned. "Then stay here," Captain Han said. "I'm going with Dr. June." Officer Kim sighed. "I can't let you go alone." They put on diving masks that would help them breathe in the strange liquid. "Captain." Han opened the pod door. The thick, clear liquid flowed in slowly. It felt warm against their skin. They stepped into the alien ship. Their bodies felt light in the liquid, almost like floating. The walls pulsed with soft blue light. There were no corners anywhere, just flowing curves. "It's beautiful," Dr. June said, his voice sounding strange through the liquid. Behind them, the door they came through slowly closed. No. Officer Kim turned back, but it was too late. The opening had sealed shut, the metal flowing back together perfectly. We're trapped. Stay calm, Captain Han said. There must be controls somewhere. They moved deeper into the ship. Strange symbols glowed on the walls. Balls of light floated through the liquid like living things. Then they saw the pilot. It was in a round room at the center of the ship. The creature looked a bit like a human and a bit like an octopus. It had 2 arms and many tentacles. Its skin was pale blue and seemed to glow from within. Its large eyes blinked slowly as it watched them. The creature was hurt. A dark purple fluid, perhaps its blood, floated in small drops around a wound on its side. It's dying, Dr. June said softly. The creature reached out one hand. In it was a small device shaped like a star. Captain Han moved forward slowly. I think it wants to give us that. Don't touch it, Officer Kim warned, but Dr. June moved past them both. It needs help. He took the star-shaped object. As soon as he touched it, it glowed brightly and attached itself to the side of his head. Dr. June gasped and fell to his knees. June! Captain Han rushed to help him. Dr. June held up his hand. Wait, I can hear her thoughts. Her? Officer Kim asked. Her name is Nara, Dr. June said slowly. She calls it the Oceanic Covenant, a group of water worlds. The creature, Nara, moved her tentacles in patterns. More lights appeared, showing images in the liquid around them. Stars, planets, ships much bigger than this one. She's a scout, Dr. June translated. She came to warn us. There's something coming to Earth. Something terrible. The images changed to show massive ships shaped like spears, dark and threatening. The Void Armada, Dr. June continued. They attack ocean worlds. They take all the water, all the life in it. They've destroyed many worlds already. And Earth is next, Captain Han guessed. Dr. June nodded. They think of land creatures, us, as pests to remove. They want our oceans, and they're already on their way. How long do we have? Officer Kim asked, his military training taking over. Dr. June listened to thoughts only he could hear. Months, maybe less. Nara's tentacles moved again. The ship around them hummed. She's giving us her ship, Dr. June said with wonder, and her knowledge, to help us prepare. Captain Han looked at the dying alien. Will she survive? Dr. June's face was sad. She doesn't think so, but she hopes her warning will. Officer Kim stood straighter. Then we need to get this information to our leaders fast. The door they had come through opened again. The path back to their pod was clear. Thank you, Captain Han said to Nara, bowing her head. As they moved back, toward their pod, Dr. June turned back one last time. She says there's one thing in our favor. The Void has never fought a species that lives both on land and in water before. They don't understand how we think. That's not much against their technology, Officer Kim said. It's something, Captain Han replied. And sometimes something is enough. They entered their pod, minds racing with what they had learned. As they disconnected from the alien ship, they knew nothing would ever be the same again. Earth's oceans, once thought unconquerable by humans, were about to become a battlefield against the stars. Captain Han, Officer Kim, and Dr. June sat in a cold room at the Korean naval base. 4 high-ranking officers stared at them from across the table. The faces of the officers showed doubt. You expect us to believe you found an alien ship underwater? Asked Admiral Park. His thick eyebrows came together in a frown. And this alien told you an invasion is coming? That's exactly what happened, Captain Han said firmly. She did not back down from the Admiral's stare. The alien, Nara, put a device on Dr. June's head, Officer Kim added. It let them talk. Mind to mind. Dr. June touched the side of his head where the star-shaped device had been. I can still feel her thoughts sometimes, like whispers. Admiral Park shook his head. We need proof. We brought back data from our ship, Captain Han said, and Dr. June has the neural device. That's not enough, another officer said. This could be a trick from another country. Just then Dr. June gasped and grabbed his head. She's reaching out again. Nara, she's showing me something. What is it? Captain Han asked, concerned. The void ships, they just passed Jupiter. They're getting closer. 2 weeks later, space agencies around the world reported strange objects moving past Mars. The Korean government finally took the warning seriously. They moved Nara's ship to a secret underwater base. Scientists from around the country came. To study it, Captain Han was put in charge of a new project. They called it Ocean Defense. Dr. June worked with the scientists studying Nara's ship. The alien was still alive but very weak. She could only communicate through the neural link with Dr. June. The Void Armada has conquered many ocean planets. Dr. June explained to a room full of military leaders and scientists. He pointed to pictures on a screen. They take all the water and sea life. They kill any land creatures. How do we fight them? Officer Kim asked. He had been assigned to lead the military side of the project. Their technology is much better than ours, Dr. June said. But Nara thinks we have one advantage. The Void has never fought a species that masters both land and sea. Captain Han stepped forward. So we use what we know about our oceans against them. The plan was bold. Instead of trying to fight the aliens in space, where humans would surely lose, they would prepare for an ocean battle. Using what they learned from Nara's ship, they started building new submarines. These were like nothing seen before. The first test ship was called Haebyong-1, which meant Sea Warrior in Korean. It was smaller than a normal submarine, but much faster. Its outer skin could change color like an octopus. It could dive deeper than any human ship before. Officer Kim watched the first tests with doubt. It looks impressive, but will it work against the aliens? Dr. June stood beside him, looking tired. Sharing thoughts with Nara was draining him. Nara says we need more power for the new weapons system. Where do we get that kind of power? Officer Kim asked. From Nara's ship, Dr. June said. She wants to give us her power core. Won't that kill her? Captain Han asked, joining them. Dr. June nodded sadly. She says it's worth it if it helps save our world. The next day, they carefully removed the glowing blue core from Nara's ship. As soon as it was out, the ship's lights faded. Nara's life signs grew weaker. Dr. June sat by the tank where they kept Nara. Her blue skin was now pale gray. Her tentacles moved slowly. Thank you, he said to her, even though he knew she could only hear his thoughts. In his mind, he heard her weak voice. Your oceans remind me of home. They deserve to live. Officer Kim came into the room. He had avoided Nara until now, not trusting the alien. But seeing her sacrifice changed something in him. I was wrong about her, he admitted. She really is trying to help us. She's dying, Dr. June said simply. Officer Kim stood straighter. Then we'll make sure it's not for nothing. 1 month later, the Haebyong-1 was ready for its real test. The ship now had Nara's power core. Its weapons were based on her technology. Captain Han would command it. Officer Kim would handle weapons. Dr. June would be there too, with the neural device. Though Nara was too weak to leave her tank, she could still guide them through the link. They took the ship to the deepest part of the East Sea. The water pressure there would crush a normal submarine. But the Haebyong-1 moved easily through the dark water. 4,000 meters deep, Captain Han announced. All systems normal. Testing weapons, Officer Kim said. He pressed a button. The ship sent out a pulse of blue energy. It hit an old shipwreck they were using as a target. The wreck didn't just break apart, it dissolved. It works, Dr. June said. Nara says the weapon breaks the bonds between molecules. Captain Han smiled for the first time in weeks. Now we have a chance. Back at the base, leaders from other countries came to see the Haebyong-1. At first, each country wanted to build their own ships, but soon it became clear there wasn't enough time. We must work together, Captain Han told them. The Void doesn't care what country we're from. They want all our oceans. An emergency meeting of world leaders was called. Dr. June brought Nara's tank to show them the alien. Some were afraid. Others were amazed. All finally understood the threat was real. Few aliens will be here in less than a month, Dr. June told them. Nara can sense their ships. The world leaders agreed to form a united defense force. Factories around the world started building more Haebyong ships. Deep underwater bases were created to hide and protect them. Officer Kim trained crews from different countries. Forget old fights, he told them. We're all Earthlings now. Dr. June spent most of his time with Nara. She was teaching him everything she knew about the Void, their weaknesses, their battle plans. Sometimes she showed him memories of her ocean homeworld. It was beautiful, with 3 moons and buildings made of living coral. It was gone now, taken by the Void years ago. We won't let that happen to Earth, he promised her. I know, her thoughts came to him. Humans are stubborn. He laughed. Yes, we are. On a cool morning in April, Captain Han stood on the deck of a carrier ship. Below in the water were 50 Haebyong vessels. They were just the first wave. Hundreds more were being built. Officer Kim joined her. Space Command says the alien fleet will enter Earth orbit tomorrow. Captain Han nodded. Are the crews ready? As ready as they can be, he said. Some are scared, but all are willing to fight. Dr. June approached them, looking grave. Nara just told me something new. The Void doesn't just want our oceans, they need them. Their homeworld is dying. They've used up all its water. That doesn't excuse what they do, Officer Kim said firmly. No, Dr. June agreed. But it means they'll fight harder than we thought. They're desperate. The 3 friends stood in silence, watching the sun set over the ocean. The water turned golden, then deep red. Tomorrow it begins, Captain Han said quietly. The ocean stretched out before them, calm and beautiful. Soon it would become a battlefield, like no human had ever seen before. But they would not give it up without a fight. The terrible war was about to begin. The sky filled with dark shapes that blocked the sun. They weren't like the flying saucers from old movies. These ships looked like giant spears pointed down at Earth. Their black surfaces swallowed light. There were hundreds of them. Captain Han watched from the command center as world air forces tried to fight back. Jets fired missiles at the alien ships. The explosions didn't even leave marks. They're not even trying to fight our planes, Officer Kim said, watching the screens. They're ignoring them. That was true. The Void ships didn't fire back at the jets. They simply continued their slow descent toward the oceans. Dr. June burst into the room. Nara says this is just the first wave. The main fleet is still coming. His face was pale. The neural device on his head glowed brighter than before. Where will they enter the water? Captain Han asked. Dr. June closed his eyes, listening to Nara's thoughts. The deep parts, the trenches, Mariana Trench in the Pacific, Puerto Rico Trench in the Atlantic, Java Trench in the Indian Ocean. Captain Han turned to the communication officer. Tell all Haebyong ships to move to those locations. Now. The Haebyong 1 sped through the dark water of the Pacific. Captain Han sat in the command chair. The ship was faster than any submarine ever built, but it would still take hours to reach the Mariana Trench. Officer Kim checked the weapon systems. All ships report ready. But we've never fought these aliens before. We don't know if our weapons will work. Dr. June sat quietly in a corner, eyes closed. The neural device connected him to Nara, who was still in her tank at the base. Nara says the first Void ships have entered the water. They're changing shape for underwater movement. On the screens, they could see the first images from underwater, drones near the trench. The Void ships were no longer spear-shaped. They had opened like dark flowers with many arms reaching out. Each arm had smaller parts that moved like swimming snakes. What are those things? Officer Kim asked. Harvester units. Dr. June answered, his voice distant. They collect and process all sea life. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is spared. The screens showed more images. The dark arms grabbed everything. Fish, plants, even tiny plankton. Where they touched, the water turned gray and lifeless. "How long until we reach the trench?" Captain Hahn asked. 1 hour, the navigation officer replied. Captain Hahn's face was grim. "That's too long. Too much will be lost." Just then, an alarm sounded. A communication officer called out, "Captain, regular naval forces are engaging the aliens near Japan." The screen showed traditional submarines firing torpedoes at the void ships. The explosions looked small against the massive alien vessels. The void ships finally responded. They sent out pulses of dark energy. The human submarines broke apart, like toys. "No survivors detected," the officer reported quietly. The room fell silent. These were the first human deaths in the war. They wouldn't be the last. Finally, the Haebyong fleet reached the edge of the Mariana Trench. 30 ships formed a line. The Haebyong 1 led them. "All ships, activate stealth systems," Captain Hahn ordered. The outer skins of the ships changed, color, matching the dark water around them. Their energy signatures disappeared from scanners. They became ghosts in the deep. Below them, in the trench, 5 massive void ships moved slowly. Their arms reached out, taking everything alive. "They haven't seen us yet," Officer Kim said. Dr. June opened his eyes. "Nara says to target the central part of each ship. That's where they process what they take." Captain Hahn gave the order. "All ships, target central processing units. Fire on my mark." The Haebyong ships moved into position. Each one aimed at a different void ship. "Fire," Captain Hahn ordered. 30 beams of blue energy shot through the water. They hit the void ships in their centers. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the dark ships shuddered. Their arms stopped moving. "Direct hits," Officer Kim shouted. "They're damaged." But the celebration was short. The void ships began to repair themselves. The damaged parts regrew before their eyes. "Again," Captain Hahn ordered. "Keep firing." The Haebyong ships fired another round, and another. The void ships slowed their repairs but didn't stop. "It's not enough," Officer Kim said. Dr. June's eyes suddenly widened. "Nara says to use the ocean itself." "What does that mean?" Captain Hahn asked. "The currents," Dr. June explained. "The void ships don't understand Earth's ocean currents. They're used to calmer seas on other worlds." Captain Hahn thought quickly. "The underwater volcano near here. If we could trigger an eruption..." Officer Kim nodded. "The hot water and ash would create a massive current. It might damage our ships too," the navigation officer warned. "We have no choice," Captain Hahn said. She turned to Officer Kim. "Target the volcano's weak point." The Haebyong 1 moved away from the other ships. It went deeper, toward the underwater volcano. On the scanner, they could see the thin crust that held back the hot magma. "Target locked," Officer Kim said. "Fire," Captain Hahn ordered. The blue energy beam hit the volcano's crust. At first nothing happened. Then a crack appeared. It grew larger. Hot magma began to pour out. "All ships, pull back," Captain Hahn shouted into the communication system. The Haebyong ships moved away from the trench. The void ships, still repairing, didn't move. The volcano erupted. A massive cloud of hot water, steam, and ash rose from the deep. It created a powerful current that swirled around the void ships. The alien vessels were thrown against the walls of the trench. The current tore at their half-repaired bodies. "It's working," Officer Kim said. "They can't handle the current." The void ships tried to escape, but the current was too strong. 3 were destroyed against the rocks. The other 2 were badly damaged. "All ships, target the damaged ones," Captain Hahn ordered. The Haebyong fleet fired again. This time, the damaged void ships broke apart. Cheers filled the command room. Their first battle was a victory. But the celebration didn't last long. Reports came in from around the world. The Mariana Trench was just one battle. The void had entered all Earth's oceans. Regular naval forces were being destroyed everywhere. Worse news followed. Void ships had reached coastal cities: San Francisco, Sydney, Shanghai, Rio de Janeiro. They rose from the water and attacked with Dark energy beams. Buildings fell. Millions died in the first hour. Captain Han ordered the Haebyong fleet to split up. Half would stay to guard the trench. The other half would go to help coastal cities. We won one battle, she told her crew. But the war has just begun. Dr. June sat quietly, listening to Nara. The Void is surprised, he said. They didn't expect us to destroy any of their ships. They're changing their plans. How? Captain Han asked. They're targeting specific places on the ocean floor, Dr. June said. Nara doesn't understand why. Officer Kim looked at the map where the Void attacks were marked. They're hitting fault lines, he realized. They're trying to cause earthquakes. Captain Han understood immediately. They want to reshape our ocean floors, make them more like what they're used to. If they succeed, Dr. June said, our advantage of knowing our oceans will be gone. Captain Han's face showed determination. Then we need to stop them, no matter the cost. The Haebyong-1 turned and headed toward the nearest Void target. The ocean around them was already changing, becoming darker and emptier as the aliens harvested all life. The terrible war had begun, and humanity's ancient home, the oceans where all life on Earth started, was the battlefield. The explosion shook the ice cave like an earthquake. Captain Han grabbed the command chair as the Haebyong-1 was thrown against the ice walls. Alarms screamed. Red lights flashed everywhere. Report, she shouted over the noise. The Arctic Command. Vessel is badly damaged, the weapons officer called out, but it's still alive. What about Officer Kim? Captain Han asked, though she already knew the answer. The sonar operator looked at his screen sadly. No signal from the mini-sub. He's gone, Captain. Captain Han closed her eyes for a moment. Kim had saved them all, but the cost was too high. She would grieve later. Now she had to finish what he started. The command vessel is sending signals to other Void ships, Dr. June said suddenly. His face was very pale now. They're all coming here. How many? Captain Han asked. All of them, Dr. June replied. Every Void ship in the Arctic Ocean. They barely escaped the ice cave before 50 Void ships arrived at the spot. The Haebyong-1 raced through the dark Arctic water trying to reach open ocean. They're gaining on us, the navigation officer reported. Dr. June spoke in a voice that wasn't quite his own anymore. It sounded like Nara. The main Void fleet has arrived at Earth. One ship, bigger than all the others. It's not just a ship, it's alive. Captain Han felt her heart sink. Where? South Pacific. It's the size of a city. The other command vessels are joining it there. On the communication system, reports came in from around the world. The remaining human ships were being called to form one last fleet. This would be the final battle. Set course for the South Pacific, Captain Han ordered. Maximum speed. As they traveled, Dr. June grew weaker. The blue glow in his eyes was fading. Nara is dying, he whispered. I can feel her slipping away. Captain Han knelt beside her friend. Stay with us, June. We need you both. She wants to tell you something, Dr. June said. His voice was very quiet. The big ship, it wasn't always evil. It was like her people once, but it lost its way. It became hungry for more and more water, more and more life. It forgot what it was like to create instead of destroy. Can it be stopped? Captain Han asked. Dr. June's eyes closed. For a long moment, he was silent. Then he opened them again. Maybe. If someone could reach its mind. Show it what it has. Forgotten. How? The same way Nara reached mine. But it would be dangerous. The mind that tried might be lost forever. 3 days later, the human fleet gathered in the South Pacific. Only 30 Haebyong ships remained. They floated on the surface, preparing for the last battle. In the distance, they could see it. The Void flagship was like a floating island of black metal. It pulsed with dark energy. Around it, hundreds of smaller Void ships waited. Captain Han spoke to all the ship captains over the radio. This is our last chance. We fight not just for our oceans, but for our entire world. And for all the worlds the Void has already destroyed. Dr. June, now barely able to stand, was helped to the command chair. Nara says goodbye, he whispered. She's proud to have known humans. We remind her of her people before they were destroyed. He spoke. The neural device on his head went dark. Nara was gone. Dr. June collapsed, but he was still breathing. Captain Han caught him. Rest, old friend. You've done enough. But Dr. June opened his eyes one more time. No, I have to finish this. Nara showed me how. I can reach the big ships, but I need to get close. That's impossible, Captain Han said. You'll die. Maybe, Dr. June said with a weak smile. But maybe not. Nara left something behind in my mind, a piece of herself. I'm not just human anymore. The final battle began at sunset. The human ships charged toward the Void flagship. The alien fleet met them halfway. Energy beams crossed in the water like deadly lightning. Ships exploded on both sides. The ocean turned red with fire and blood. The Haebyong-1 fought through the battle, heading for the flagship. Captain Han used every trick she had learned. The ship twisted and turned between enemy fire. We're getting close, she called out. All weapons ready, the weapons officer replied. But Dr. June stood up slowly. No weapons this time. I need to dock with it, like we did with Nara's ship. June, you're too weak. This is what I was meant to do, he said. Nara knew. That's why she chose me. Captain Han looked at her friend. His hair was completely white now, and his skin had a faint blue glow. He was changing, becoming something between human and alien. Do it, she said quietly. The Haebyong-1 approached the massive flagship. Up close it was even more frightening. Its surface moved like living skin. An opening appeared just like on Nara's ship. The ship wants us to enter, Dr. June said. It's curious about us. They docked with the flagship. Dr. June walked slowly to the airlock. Captain Han went with him. I have to go alone from here, he said. No. We do this together. Dr. June smiled. You sound like Kim. They entered the flagship together. Like Nara's ship, it was filled with breathable liquid. But this liquid was dark and thick, not clear like Nara's had been. They swam through corridors that pulsed like blood vessels. Finally, they reached the heart of the ship. There, in a chamber as big as a cathedral, was the mind of the Void. It was enormous. Part machine, part living creature. Thousands of tentacles connected it to the ship's systems. Its eyes were black, holes that seemed to swallow light. The creature spoke without words directly into their minds. Why do you come here, tiny land crawlers? Dr. June stepped forward. To show you something you've forgotten. I have forgotten nothing. I remember every world I have taken, every ocean I have drained. But do you remember what you were before? Dr. June asked. Before you became this? The creature's eyes flickered. I was smaller, weaker. You were free, Dr. June said. He reached out and touched one of the creature's tentacles. Suddenly the chamber filled with light. Not the harsh light of energy weapons, but soft, warm light like sunlight through water. Dr. June was sharing his memories with the creature. But not just his memories. Nara's memories, too. He showed the creature what Nara had shown him. Beautiful, ocean worlds where different species lived together in peace. Coral cities that grew instead of being built. Creatures that created art from living light. The Void creature shuddered. I remember, I was like them once. I built, not destroyed. I gave life to the waters, not death. You can be that again, Captain Han said, stepping forward. You don't have to take any more. Earth's oceans can teach you. We have creatures that work together, not against each other. The creature's black eyes began to change color. Slowly they became blue like Nara's had been. I am tired, the creature said. So tired of taking, of being empty inside no matter how much I consume. Then stop, Dr. June said simply. Choose, to create instead of destroy. The battle outside stopped suddenly. All the Void ships powered down. The human fleet waited, weapons ready, but the aliens did not attack. Inside the flagship, the creature made its choice. "I will leave," it said. "Take my fleet away from this place, but first, I will give back what I can." The creature began to glow. Energy flowed from it into the ship's systems. All around Earth's oceans, the gray, lifeless water began to change. Color returned. Fish, that had been thought extinct, swam again. Coral reefs that had been destroyed grew back in minutes. The void wasn't just leaving. It was healing what it had broken. Dr. June smiled. "Thank you." The creature looked at him with new eyes. "No. Thank you for reminding me who I was meant to be." 6 months later, Captain Han stood on the deck of a new kind of ship. It wasn't for war, but for exploration. The oceans were more beautiful now than they had ever been. The void's healing energy had made them richer with life. Dr. June stood beside her. He looked human again, but his eyes still held a trace of blue. Sometimes he could hear whispers from the deep ocean, messages from creatures grateful for their freedom. "Any word from the deep-sea colonies?" Captain Han asked. "They're doing well," Dr. June replied. "The first underwater city will be ready next year. We're calling it New Nara." Captain Han nodded. They had built a memorial there for Officer Kim. It stood in the deepest part of the ocean, where brave hearts like his would be remembered forever. "Do you think the void will keep its promise?" she asked. Dr. June looked up at the stars. "Yes. It found something more valuable than any ocean. It found peace." The ocean stretched out around them, blue and infinite. Humanity had fought for their world and won. But more than that, they had shown an ancient enemy that there was another way to live. The terrible war was over. Earth's oceans were unconquerable after all, not because they couldn't be taken, but because they had taught even their enemies the value of life over death, creation over destruction. In the depths below, new cities grew. In the stars above, an old enemy had become a guardian of distant worlds. And on the surface, humans looked to the future with hope, knowing that their greatest strength had always been their ability to choose compassion over conquest. The war with the Starship had ended not with destruction but with understanding, and Earth's oceans, ancient and eternal, sang with the music of peace. The end. 6 months passed. The war changed Earth forever. People moved away from the coasts. Cities like New York and Tokyo were half empty. The oceans, once blue and full of life, now looked gray and sick in many places. The void ships had taken so much. Captain Han stood in the underwater base called Deep Haven. Maps on the wall showed red areas where the void controlled the oceans. Most of the map was red. "We're losing," Officer Kim said. He looked tired. They all did. "We destroyed 27 void ships last month. They built 30 new ones." Dr. June sat nearby. The neural device was always on his head now. It had changed him. His hair had turned white, and his eyes had a blue glow like Nara's. "Nara's fading," he said softly. "She can't hold on much longer." Captain Han looked at her old friend with worry. Dr. June and Nara had been connected for months. They shared one mind now. If she died, what would happen to him? "We need a new plan," Captain Han said. "Something the void won't expect." Just then, a young officer ran into the room. "Captain, the void ships are attacking Iceland. They're trying to crack the mid-Atlantic ridge. If they succeed, half the Atlantic Ocean floor will change," Officer Kim said. Captain Han made a quick decision. "Prepare the Haebyong-1. We leave in 1 hour." The battle near Iceland was fierce. 5 Haebyong ships fought against 3 larger void vessels. The human ships were faster, but the void ships were stronger. The Haebyong-1 arrived, just as one of the human ships was destroyed. "All ships attack pattern Delta," Captain Han ordered. The remaining human ships moved in a circle around the void vessels. They fired their blue energy beams at the same time. One void ship broke apart, but the other 2 fired back. Dark energy cut through the water. One more human ship exploded. We need to get closer, Officer Kim said. Our weapons work better at short range. That's too dangerous, the navigation officer argued. Captain Han thought for a moment. Do we still have the special torpedoes? The ones with Nara's liquid inside? Officer Kim nodded. 2 left. We were saving them. Not anymore, Captain Han said. Load them. The torpedoes were special. They contained the same breathable liquid that filled Nara's ship. When it mixed with the dark energy of the void ships, it caused a reaction that the aliens couldn't stop. Torpedoes ready, Officer Kim reported. Get us closer to the lead ship, Captain Han ordered. The Haebyong-1 sped toward the largest void vessel. Dark energy beams passed close by. Fire, Captain Han shouted. The torpedoes shot forward. They hit the void ship in its center. For a moment, nothing happened. Then bright blue light spread through the alien vessel. It broke apart from the inside. The last void ship tried to escape. The other human ships caught it and destroyed it with their energy beams. We did it, Officer Kim said, relief in his voice. But their victory was short-lived. Alarms sounded throughout the ship. Captain, we have a problem. The engineering officer called out. Our main power core is damaged. We're losing power. How long do we have? Captain Han asked. Maybe 1 hour, the officer replied. Then we'll lose life support. Dr. June, who had been quiet during the battle, suddenly spoke. Nara knows where we can go. There's an underwater cave system near here. We can hide and make repairs. Captain Han looked at the map. Those caves aren't on our charts. They wouldn't be, Dr. June said. They're too deep for normal submarines to reach. But Nara has been here before. With no better options, Captain Han agreed. Show us the way. The caves were hidden beneath a shelf of ice. The entrance was narrow, but the Haebyong-1 barely fit through. Inside, the ice formed a large cavern with air at the top. We can surface here, Dr. June said. The ship rose until it broke through into the air pocket. The crew started repairs right away. In the command room, Captain Han, Officer Kim, and Dr. June talked about their next move. We can't keep fighting like this, Officer Kim said. We win small battles, but we're losing the war. We need to find their weakness, Captain Han agreed. Dr. June closed his eyes, listening to Nara's thoughts. There is something. Nara has been studying their communication patterns. The void ships don't act on their own. They're controlled by larger ships. Command vessels, like the brain controlling the body, Captain Han said. Yes, Dr. June nodded. There are 5 command vessels, 1 in each major ocean region. If we can destroy them, then the smaller ships would be confused, Officer Kim finished. They might even shut down. Hope filled the room for the first time in months. Where are these command vessels? Captain Han asked. Dr. June pointed to locations on the map. Here, the deepest, coldest parts of each ocean. They need the cold to function properly. Officer Kim studied the map. They're well protected. It would take a special operation to reach each one. Captain Han stood straighter. Then that's what we'll do. We'll call it Operation Undertow. 2 weeks later, the plan was ready. 5 teams of Haebyong ships would attack the 5 command vessels at the same time. The Haebyong-1, now repaired, would lead the most dangerous mission to the Arctic command vessel. Captain Han insisted that Dr. June come with them, despite his weakening condition. Nara's knowledge would be crucial. Are you sure about this? Officer Kim asked Captain Han privately. June doesn't look good, and if Nara dies during the mission, we need them both, Captain Han said firmly. This may be our last chance. Officer Kim nodded. Then, surprising Captain Han, he said, I want you to know something. If we don't make it back, it has been an honor serving with you. More than an honor. Captain Han looked at her old friend. She saw something in his eyes she had never noticed before, or perhaps had never allowed herself to see. Kim? She started to say. The alarm sounded, cutting her off. It was time to go. The Arctic waters were the coldest on Earth. Ice floated everywhere. The Haebyong-1 moved carefully between the floating bergs. Nara says the command vessel is just ahead. Dr. June reported. Under that large ice shelf. On the scanner, they could see it. The command vessel was enormous, 10 times bigger than the Haebyong-1. It pulsed with dark energy. It's heavily guarded, Officer Kim said, looking at the smaller void ships that surrounded it. We'll never get past them all, the weapons officer said. Captain Han turned to Dr. June. Does Nara know another way? Dr. June closed his eyes. After a moment, he smiled slightly. Yes, there are channels in the ice, small tunnels formed by warm water currents. The void doesn't know about them. Can we fit? Captain Han asked. Barely, Dr. June said. We'll have to go one at a time. Captain Han looked at her crew. We've come too far to turn back now. The Haebyong-1 approached the ice shelf. A small opening was barely visible among the white ice. It looked much too small for the ship. All hands, prepare for tight passage, Captain Han ordered. Turn on ice-breaking beams. The ship fired thin beams that melted the ice just enough to widen the tunnel slightly. Then it moved forward, scraping against the ice walls. Hull pressure rising, the engineering officer reported. We can't take much more of this. But they pressed on. Finally, they emerged into a larger cave under the ice. And there, filling most of the space, was the underside of the command vessel. We're directly beneath it, Officer Kim said. Their sensors can't see us through the ice. Load all remaining torpedoes, Captain Han ordered. Target their main, power core. As the weapons were prepared, a message came in from the other teams. The Atlantic team had succeeded. The Pacific team had failed. The Indian Ocean team was still fighting. The Southern Ocean team had not reported in. We may be the last hope, Captain Han told her crew. Make every shot count. The torpedoes were loaded. The Haebyong-1 moved into firing position. Fire, Captain Han ordered. The torpedoes shot upward. They hit the underside of the command vessel. Explosions rocked the ice cave. Chunks of ice fell around them, but the command vessel didn't break apart. It was too strong. No effect, Officer Kim shouted over the noise. We need to get closer, plant the charges directly on their core. That's a suicide mission, Captain Han said. Officer Kim looked at her with determination. I'll go, in the mini-sub. No, Captain Han grabbed his arm. We need another way. But they both knew there wasn't one. Officer Kim put his hand over hers. Remember what I said before? It has been an honor. Before she could stop him, he ran to the launch bay where the one-person mini-sub was kept. The last thing Captain Han saw was Officer Kim's face in the mini-sub's window as it launched toward the command vessel. Then everything went white as the explosions began.